Hello. My name is Jones, and today we are going to look at substance abuse. The objective of this lesson is to define substance abuse, outline theories of alcohol or substance abuse, outline social effects of alcohol abuse, discuss phases of alcohol intoxication, discuss ways of how alcohol abuse can be prevented within our communities or society. So these are the objectives of our lesson. Okay, so it should be noted that worldwide, substance use and abuse are significant problems for adolescents. They carry serious consequences such as assault and rape. Substance abuse involves use of psychological active substances which are potentially harmful to the individual. It is generally agreed by most scientists, that stress, conflicts, and frustrations are major factors in substance abuse. The user is trying to alter the world enough to make it more tolerable within themselves or within their lifestyle. Peer pressure is another important factor in substance abuse, as peer pressure is one of the leading causes of people abusing drugs or adolescents abusing drugs. Substance abuse, also known as drug abuse, is looked at as a harmful or hazardous use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol and a lot of illicit drugs that are out there. The user consumes the substance in amounts or methods which are harmful to themselves or others. So substance abuse may also be looked at as a form of a substance-related disorder. So that is why it is discussed in mental health, because it is a form of substance-related disorders. Individuals are considered to have substance use disorder when use of the substance interferes with their ability to fulfill law obligations, such as go for work, go for school, or come back home and play their important role within the family. Often the individual would like to cut down or control the use of the substance, but attempts to do this are going to fail, and the use of the substance will continue to increase. There is an intense craving for the substance that one most of the time abuses, or that one is dependent on, or that one is addicted to. So there's an intense craving of this substance, and also the person will tend to take an excessive amount of time trying to procure more of this same substance that they abuse, or they will spend more time trying to recover from the effects of the use of this same substance. So use of substances may cause problems within this person to do with interpersonal relationships, and also the individual may be socially isolated. Individuals with substance use disorders often participate in hazardous activities when they are impaired by the substance, and then they will continue to use the substance despite knowing that its use is contributing to their physical and psychological problems that they may start facing. Addiction becomes evident when tolerance develops and the amount required to achieve desired effect continue to increase. With that said, it's also important that we familiarize ourselves with the terms that are related to substance abuse. So some of the terms that are related to substance abuse include intoxication, substance withdrawal, addiction, dependence, tolerance. So these are just some of the terms that are related to substance abuse. So when we talk about intoxication, we are looking at physical and mental state of exhilaration and emotional frenzy or lethargy and stupor that one may get from use of a substance. So intoxication is a physical and mental state of exhilaration and emotional frenzy or lethargy and stupor that one tends to attain by abusing the drug or substance that they are addicted to. So with substance intoxication, the individual experiences a reversible syndrome of symptoms that occur with ingestion of a substance and that are specific to the substance that has been ingested. The behavior changes can be attributed to the physiological effects of the substance on the central nervous system. Okay, so we have defined intoxication as simply the physical and mental state, okay, that may come because of one using the substance that they are addicted to or that they abuse. Now, the other term that we need to appreciate is a substance withdrawal. Withdrawal is defined as the physiological and mental readjustment that accompanies the discontinuation of an addictive substance. Okay, of course, this definition is borrowed from Townsend. So the symptoms of withdrawal are specific to the substance that has been ingested and occur after a prolonged or heavy use of the substance. The effects are of sufficient significance to interfere with usual role performance. So substance withdrawal, we see physiological and mental readjustment after one necessarily stops or is not taking that substance that they take for some hours or after one day. Okay, then the other term that we can talk over in relation to substance abuse is addiction. Okay, so addiction can be looked at as a chronic, progressive, potential and fatal use of drugs. Okay, so addiction is necessarily the biological or psychological behavior that is related to substance dependency. Okay, so dependency also becomes a critical term to define when talking about substance abuse. Because dependency to do with substance abuse, we are looking at the desire to continue taking a drug, to induce pressure, and to relieve tension and avoid discomfort. So when one has this desire, okay, of continuously taking the substance that they are addicted to, we call that dependency. Okay, with dependency then comes tolerance, okay, which is the need to progressively increase the dose of the drug to reproduce the effects that were originally achieved by small doses. So the need to take larger and larger doses of a drug while still only getting the same effect as from the original dose, okay, is what is referred to by tolerance. Okay, so now let us now define the main term also that we are looking at, which is substance abuse. So substance abuse can also be looked as drug abuse, okay, that is can also be looked at as chemical abuse. So substance abuse in mental health can be looked at as a disorder that is characterized by destructive pattern of using a substance that leads to significant problems or distress. Okay, so some of the drugs that or substances that are abused is alcohol. So when you hear someone has become an alcoholic, we are looking at those who excessively drink, okay, and depend on alcohol to such a degree that it shows noticeable mental disturbance or an interference with their bodily and mental health, their interpersonal relations, and their smooth social and economic functioning. or who show the prodromal signs of such developments. So those are what we call alcoholics. So these alcoholics are people that abuse alcohol. Okay, they have developed addiction. They have developed dependence. So alcoholics excessively drink alcohol to achieve a certain satisfaction that they could previously achieve from small doses, but they continue taking on and on without achieving that. So these people are going to show prodromal signs and symptoms of interference with their bodily, mental, and interpersonal relationship. Okay, so one of the objectives of our lesson is to look at theories of alcohol and substance abuse. Okay, so theories of substance abuse give explanation about the causes or predisposing factors of substance use or abuse or dependence. So some of the theories that are there of alcohol or substance abuse can be grouped under genetic theory, behavioral theory, family system theory. There's also psychoanalytic theory. It can also be grouped under cultural influence theory, and then there can also be a moral explanation theory. Okay, so by genetic theory to do with theories of alcohol and substance abuse, what we can say is that the genetic theory suggests that substance abuse is related to genetic predisposition. Some anecdotal studies have demonstrated a link between alcoholism in parents and incidence in offspring. Okay, and other research that has been conducted, okay, that are focused on non-alcoholic foster parents, okay, raising children whose biological parents were alcoholics. The results within these anecdotal research studies have showed prevalence of alcohol in children, okay, was quite higher than when the biological parents were non-alcoholics. So genetically one can become predisposed. Okay, there's a theory that can become predisposed because their parents were drinking. Okay, even when they can be raised by parents who do not take alcohol. So that is what the genetic theory tries to put across. Okay, then there is the behavioral theory as one of the theories, okay, one of the theories for substance abuse or alcohol abuse. So to do with the behavioral theory, what we can say is that behavioral theory of substance abuse and addiction describes drug-taking behaviors as learned behavior from the environment. You are being groomed in a family where people abuse drugs, so hence you also start abusing drugs. So drug abusers use drugs to cope with low esteem and personal stress and also feelings of disillusions. So you find that all family members now, they feel they have got a good reason to deal with some of these problems that they may have, like personal stress. Okay, so to leave this, they start abusing some drugs, alcohol or any other substance. So the behavioral theory tries to suggest that substance abuse is a learned behavior. Then there's a family system theory. The family system theory explains substance abuse and addiction as having its roots in family dysfunction, with the family adapting to chemical dependence of its member through maladaptive responses. The example that we can look at here is a married woman who resorts to beer drinking due to a marital problem and ends up with her child taking up her roles. Okay, so it may result in what we call child parenting. So other children may also become addicted to the substances. You find that we have substances that are readily available in the fridge because of family system not controlling the younger ones below 18 not to take this alcohol. So find that everyone now starts taking alcohol, become alcoholics. Okay, so if there's no proper family system to control behavior, you find that certain behaviors may start to manifest early. Okay, so then the other theory that we can look at, so of course, the fourth theory that we can look at is the psychoanalytic theory. According to the psychoanalytic theory, drug use or drug abuse and dependence lie in mental processes. The compulsivity to use drugs functions as an artificial affect defense to numb overwhelming feelings. Okay, so by psychoanalytic theory here, the example that we can give is that people with feelings of jealousy, panic attacks, shame, or rage may abuse hypnotics or narcotics. So that is why you're saying it's a psychoanalytic issue, okay, where compulsivity or use of drug may become as an artificial affect or defense. So those with feelings of hopelessness, depression, and emptiness will also resort to defending their feelings with stimulants like cocaine. So it now being a psychoanalytic behavior defense system. Okay, so that is according to the psychoanalytic theory. Drug use and abuse dependence lie in mental processes. Then cultural influence theory. Cultural influence play a role in substance abuse. In some societies, drinking occurs within ceremonial and social context. For example, in my country of origin, drinking during parties, weddings, kitchen parties, okay, and even during some traditional ceremonies, you might see people taking alcohol. So these festivals will then affirm group identity, and drinking now becomes a disruptive behavior that is adopted by people below 18 years or those that have now become alcoholics or addicted to substances. Okay, so the last theory that we can talk about as to why people start abusing alcohol or substances is the moral explanation theory. The moral explanation of addiction holds that bad habits and values determine if a person becomes an addict. In societies where there are strict laws and penalties for possession of specified quantities of illicit drugs, like when you talk of Jewish countries, they have very low substance abuse because of strictness to do with addictive substance. So if a man believes or values alcohol, he will engage in alcohol abuse. So to help reduce on this, we have strict rules within Jewish countries that make it have less people who abuse substances like alcohol and other addictive drugs like cocaine. Okay, so one of the other objective of our lesson is to look at the social effect of alcohol abuse. So some of the social effect of alcohol abuse can be increased levels of abuse of family members. Okay, it can be increased participation in unprotected sex and other risk activities. The other one is unplanned pregnancies and increased chances of contracting sexually transmitted infections. The other social problem is family disruption. The other social problem is poverty. The other social problem that we can acknowledge is increased substance abuse. And then the other or seventh social problem that we can have is increased risk of emotional problems. Okay, so let me just try to explain on increased levels of abuse of family members as a social effect of alcohol abuse. Okay, so significant others of our colleagues are often subjected to alcohol-related abuse, such as verbal, emotional, and physical abuse, and even sexual abuse. Heavy drinking has been strongly linked to violence between partners and to a lesser extent to violence toward others, possibly because of proximity. Okay, proximity increases the opportunity for violence. Alcohol plays a role in a substantial number of domestic violence incidences. especially in case of abusing husbands. Okay, so the other social effect of alcohol that we mentioned is increased participation in unprotected sex and other risk activities. Alcohol reduces someone's judgments and correct evaluation of risk involved in indulging in some of these activities. A person who is intoxicated by alcohol may end up indulging in risk activities such as unprotected sex. Okay, so the other social effect of alcohol abuse and substance abuse is unplanned pregnancies and increased chances of contracting sexually transmitted infection. A person who is intoxicated by alcohol may end up indulging in risk activities such as unprotected sex, thereby leading to unplanned pregnancies and also increased risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections. Okay, the other social effect of alcohol is family disruption. Anecdotal studies have shown and have indicated that marriage in which only one spouse drinks, or drinks heavily, may end up in divorce up to 50% of the time. So the spouse who does not drink may decide to pull out of the marriage because of failure to tolerate alcoholic behaviors. Then the other one is poverty. Okay, poverty is a social effect of alcohol. How I can qualify poverty as a social effect of alcohol is that alcoholics may spend more money on alcohol. The financial cost of alcohol purchase, as well as lost wages due to absenteeism, can leave other family members destitute. In worst cases, alcoholism can lead to unemployment due to alcohol, the person who is alcoholic being fired. Okay, so the family will now be in poverty. Okay, the other social effect of alcohol is increased substance abuse. Children of substance abusers are 3 to 4 times more likely than peers to become addicted to alcohol or other drugs. This can then lead to increase in the number of substance abusers, thereby perpetuating the problem. Okay, so the seventh social effect of alcohol that we can look at is increased risk of emotional problems. Children of alcoholics are at high risk of developing an array of emotional problems, including mistrust, guilt, shame, confusion, ambivalence, fear, and insecurity as a result of what they pass through in their homes. Okay, so with that discussed, within our objectives, we said we are going to look at phases of alcohol intoxication. And for the sake of this presentation, we are going to look at the 7 phases of alcohol intoxication. Okay, so the 7 phases of alcohol intoxication that we're going to look at is sobriety or subclinical intoxication, euphoria, excitement, confusion, stupor, then coma, and then maybe lastly death. As the 7th stage of alcohol intoxication. It should also be known that when a person consumes alcohol, the full effects may take some time to become apparent. That is why it is important to appreciate these phases of alcohol intoxication. Depending on the number of factors, including the amount consumed, the rate of consumption, gender, body weight, and whether the drinking episode took place on an empty or full stomach, there are somewhat predictable stages of alcohol intoxication through which the individual may progress as the drinking continues. So there is a chart breaking down, of the progressive effect of intoxication as blood alcohol content or blood alcohol concentration. So they call it the BAC, blood alcohol content or blood alcohol concentration. So this has to do with the rises of alcohol content within the blood, which can be measured. So the rises can be used to estimate just what increasing level of drinking could do to the body and the individual's judgment and behavior. Hence, this helps us to come up with these phases, helps us to know at which level of phase one is depending on the blood alcohol content or concentration. So it is important to remember that the same number of drinks may not or will not produce the exact same blood alcohol concentration among different individuals. A person's size, metabolism, ethnicity, and other factors can impact how they are affected by alcohol. So when you're looking at blood alcohol concentration, okay, it is a metric that is used to measure the amount of alcohol intoxication for legal or medical purposes. Blood alcohol concentration is expressed as a percentage of alcohol in the blood. And we are going to use some of these as we talk of the phases. Of course, we are going to point out some of the other things that can be seen within a certain phase that we mention. So the first stage of phase is sobriety or subclinical intoxication. The blood alcohol concentration or blood alcohol content in sobriety and subclinical intoxication may be from 0.01 to 0.05. So the concentration is unlikely to appear, okay, to appear in, like here we're looking at the individual. So the individual, if they have 0.01 to 0.05, the individual is unlikely to appear intoxicated, though certain tests may detect some impairment. Effects of alcohol are not obvious or clearly visible in sobriety or subclinical intoxication. The behavior is nearly normal. However, the impairment can be detected with the aid of special tests, okay, breathalyzers, okay, as tests to certain blood alcohol concentration. So depending on the individual, judgment and reaction time may be slightly impaired. Okay, so in sobriety, one drink will generally result in blood alcohol concentration of 0.01 to 0.05. Okay, so that is within this same range. That is for both males and females. Okay, so this should be noted that it is with the exception of women that may be weighing less than, let's say, less than 100 pounds. Okay, for them, it might show a little bit higher amount of alcohol content. So in sobriety, one bottle of alcohol, one drink, okay, one bottle equivalent to the average number of mils that are there for these bottles may result to 0.01 to 0.05 blood alcohol concentration. So when you have this concentration, you're likely having someone in sobriety or subclinical intoxication. Of course, for females, weight consideration is very important, for the simple reason that we have established that alcohol may affect you differently depending on your race, age, and other consideration. Okay, so now from sobriety and or subclinical intoxication, the next phase or stage is euphoria. The second stage of intoxication, okay, has 0.03 and 0.12. Okay, so that is euphoria. Euphoria is the second stage of alcohol intoxication. So the blood alcohol concentration is 0.03 and 0.12. Okay, so euphoria corresponds to about 1 to 4 drinks for a woman or 2 to 5 for a man, depending on the size. So in this stage, euphoria, the individual may feel more confident and may be talkative and animated. They may feel slightly euphoric. Inhibition also becomes may go to decline or may decline. Most people, when they are in this euphoric stage, okay, they may feel tipsy, okay, tipsy, that is slightly drunk. Okay, that is within the euphoric stage. And the language of tipsy here comes in, say, I'm feeling a little bit tipsy, feeling a little bit drunk. So while many of the effects of alcohol may be pleasurable to the drinker, the negative effect of alcohol, such as impaired judgment, memory, and coordination, may begin to appear in euphoric stage. So in euphoric stage, the concentration is 0.03 to 0.11 to 0.12. Number of alcohol drinks, that is between the range of 2 to 5. Okay, 2 to 5. For the first one is just one bottle that they might have taken. Okay, then the second one they would have taken 2 to about 5, or 2 to about 4 bottles. Okay, then that takes us to the third phase or stage of alcohol intoxication. So here the person in stage 3, they have BAC, that's blood alcohol concentration, of 0.09 to 0.25. Here in excitement, the person begins to experience emotional instability, may also start experiencing a lack of critical judgments, and also a significant delay in reaction time. The person may start slurring in their speech and may also experience impaired perception and memory. Also, vision may be affected, including decreased peripheral vision. There may be blurriness and delayed glare recovery. There may also be loss of balance. Drowsiness, nausea, and vomiting may be seen in excitement. Those around the person will likely notice that the person who is in excitement is visibly drunk. Okay, so see eyes rolling fast. Okay, and the person is quite talkative. So some of these items within phase 3 is that BAC is 0.09 and to 0.25. Okay, the person becomes visibly drunk, and they would have drunk more than 5 bottles at this stage. So this vision becomes affected. Okay, speech becomes slurry. Okay, so these are some of the things that we see in excitement. Then stage 4. Stage 4 has BAC over 0.18 to 0.30. Okay, so the person here is in confusion state. That is the confusion stage. So this stage of confusion is characterized by sudden change in emotional behavior and also disorientation. So in confusion states, there is an emotional upheaval. Coordination is markedly impaired to the extent that a person may not be able to stand up, may stagger if walking, and may be very dizzy. Those in this stage of intoxication are highly likely to forget things that happen to or around them. Okay, that is around them during the time that they are drunk to confusion state. So when one has drunk to confusion state, they may experience what we call a blackout. So a blackout is losing memory of events that occurred whilst one was drinking. Okay, so Blackout without actually passing out can happen in this stage of confusion. So, in addition, a person may have and markedly increased pain threshold. So, when they have an increased pain threshold, it means they can injure themselves and not necessarily feel the effect of pain. So there is pain inhibition in confusion stage. So in confusion stage, we are saying BAC is 0.18 to 0. In confusion is 0.18 to 0.30. Okay, that is what we are saying. Blackout happens in confusion, and blackout means loss of memory of event occurring whilst one is drinking. And then there is increased pain threshold, or someone may injure themselves without feeling pain because the threshold is high. Okay, so with that, it takes us to stage 5 of alcohol intoxication, which is stupor. Stupor occurs at BAC of 0.25 to 0.40. Someone in this stage is extremely intoxicated and in a dangerous territory, as he or she is at great risk of alcohol poisoning and death. When one reaches stupor, they are at risk of dying. This is because there might be significant losses in the amount of motor function and response to stimuli. In stupor, response becomes very slow. The person who is intoxicated to stuporous level may be unable to stand or walk. Stuporous or completely, here the person becomes passed out, or person may pass out. This is because they may not voluntarily control certain body function. So they may not maintain continence. They may experience vomiting. Here, what I'm just saying, in stupor stage, person may fail to go to the toilet, so they may wet their pants with urine or feces, and they may start vomiting. Someone in this stage should get medical help. And individuals left to sleep off in the stupor stage may end up suffering from slowed breathing or respiratory arrest, or may be choked by their vomiters. Other risk that we see in stupor stage is the risk of hypothermia, hypoglycemia, arrhythmias, and seizures. So in stupor, we don't have a blackout. Here, you are knocked out. Okay, you are knocked out in stupor stage because you cannot stand. Okay, so here in stupor, you have passed out. You don't have a blackout, you have passed out. Okay, or you may pass out. Respiration becomes decreased. BAC is 0.25 to 0.40. Please follow the BAC content throughout our grading of alcohol intoxication. Okay, and you can explain this as also the intoxication phases that one is going to have because of alcohol abuse. Then there is a stage 6, which is coma. A person has reached 0.35 to 0.45 in terms of blood alcohol concentration. So if a person has reached this, there is a significant risk of lapsing into a coma. This is because respiration and circulation are severely depressed. Motor response and reflexes are markedly decreased, and the person's body temperature is going to drop, risking them to hypothermia. The person who has reached stage is at risk of imminent death, and that's why there is stage 7, which is death. This may happen at blood alcohol concentration over 0.45 and above. There's risk of death if one has blood alcohol concentration of 0.45 and above. So at this stage, many are unable to sustain vital life functions, and the risk of respiratory arrest and death becomes significant. So it's also important to note that death is also possible at lower blood alcohol concentration, not just 0.45. And alcoholics, sometimes they may reach tolerant levels. So alcohol of 0.45 levels or blood alcohol concentration at this level may lead to imminent death. So now the other objective of our lesson that we are having is ways of alcohol abuse, ways of preventing alcohol abuse within our society. So some of the ways of preventing alcohol abuse in our society is by conducting awareness campaigns about alcohol, identifying and counseling people that are at increased risk of alcoholism, conducting lifestyle campaigns to ease stress, seeking help to prevent alcoholism, avoiding socializing at bars or drinking places, avoiding keeping alcohol at home, engaging young people in recreation activities. So these are just some of the ways that may help in preventing alcohol abuse and substance abuse within our society. So when we say conducting awareness campaigns about alcohol and substance abuse here, what we necessarily mean is that awareness campaigns, they can be aimed at preventing young people from drinking before they turn the age of 18. So even putting policies, like government putting deliberate policies of all drinking places not to allow people under the age of 18 to go and drink, is also one of those deliberate ways of preventing alcohol abuse and substance abuse. So preventing people from becoming psychologically and physically dependent on alcohol and reducing harm caused by alcohol abuse, such as public and social behavior or domestic, can be done early within people's lives, because sometimes or at times it's these people who have become alcoholics or who have become abusers, it might have happened at early stage in their life. So when you conduct awareness about drug abuse in schools, then pupils will desist from abusing these drugs. Identifying and counseling people at increased risk of alcoholism. So this can help prevent alcohol and substance abuse. Alcoholism can impact anyone irrespective of gender, personal beliefs, ethnicity, age, or body type. However, certain individuals are at high risk of developing dependence on intoxicating drinks. These include individuals with unhealthy drinking patterns, individuals who overdrink, individuals with a family history of alcoholism. So if we have good family system, it may help prevent alcoholisms. So other people that become more predisposed are individuals with mental health problems such as anxiety and depression. Youth that are experiencing peer pressure or low self-esteem, and then individuals with high stress at jobs and work pressure, and also families and cultures where drinking is traditional. So all these may become at risk to alcohol abuse or alcoholism. So such individuals may require preventive counseling so that they do not become alcoholics. So the other way that we mentioned of preventing alcohol abuse and alcoholism within our family is conducting lifestyle campaigns to ease stress. One of the leading causes of alcohol abuse in adults is work-related stress. Alcohol prevention programs at workplace are effective ways to prevent abuse in employed individuals. Lifestyles that can reduce stress and thereby prevent substance abuse include regular exercising, eating health diet, reducing caffeine and sugar, and getting enough sleep. So you need to conduct a lifestyle campaign to help reduce stress. The other ways of preventing alcohol abuse within our society and substance abuse is seeking help to prevent the act of alcoholism or substance abuse. Community members should be advised to seek help if they begin to show high-risk behaviors for abuse, so that early interventions can be instituted to help prevent adverse effects of alcoholism. Some of the things they can do when drinking problem is suspected include seeking therapy from a trained counselor, or talking to the family physician, and finding support group for adults with alcohol problems. So the other ways of preventing alcohol abuse and alcoholism within our society is avoiding socializing at bars or drinking places. So community members should be advised to avoid socializing at bars. Instead they should plan activities with friends at places that do not sell alcohol to prevent indulgence in alcohol consumption. The other ways of preventing alcohol abuse is avoiding keeping alcohol at home. Access to alcohol increases the likelihood of drinking. Fully stocked liquor cabinets and half-drunk bottles of wine can set off drinking triggers to those that have not yet started drinking, especially within family. If there is no social purpose, alcoholic drinks should be kept out of the house. Alcoholic drinks can be substituted within the cabinets with drinks such as tea and lemonade. It will help reduce the craving or desire for people to take alcohol. Hence, within this way, you are able to prevent alcohol abuse. So the other ways of preventing alcohol abuse within our society is engaging young people in recreation activities. Teenagers and young adults are more likely to succumb to peer pressure and adopt inappropriate drinking behaviors. Anecdotal studies have shown that young people tend to consume 90% of their total intake of alcohol through binge drinking. Binge drinking has dangerous consequences such as drunk driving, sexual assault, injuries, impaired judgment, and increased risk of alcoholism later in life. It is therefore essential to engage young people in recreational activities to prevent them from indulging in alcohol. So there you have it. Today we have been looking at substance abuse. We have looked at substance abuse with also emphasis of alcohol abuse as also a substance that is commonly abused within our society. Within this lesson, we have defined substance abuse. We have outlined the theories of alcohol and substance abuse. We also outlined the social effect of alcohol abuse. We also discussed the phases of alcohol intoxication and discussed ways of how alcohol abuse can be prevented. So from me, I'm saying keep on studying.